The infinite wisdom of the human body knows how to heal itself, how to cleanse itself when it's needed. This is the power of self-cleansing of the human body, because only the body can heal and knows how to heal itself. My name is Kasia, and in this video, I will be sharing the experience of my wonderful guest, Alva, who is going to introduce really herself, her experience. I'm going to share her experience of self-cleansing, self-healing. And let's maybe just start, because I feel that there is so much actually for Alva to share that I'm going to really offer you that opportunity now to introduce. So thank you very much, Alva, for being here, for being so open to share your experience. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And over to you. How did you experience really your life before you healing? I'm gonna just maybe say briefly that you started in June. A 30-day fruit detox program that I offered. And after the 30 days, you just continued straight away with a 90-day detox program that is just about to complete in a week time. So we will be basically sharing Alva's experience of self-healing. So the first thing I would love to ask you, Alva, is like, what did you experience before?
Right. So, thank you for having me. First, I would like to say I'm 58 years young, about to be 59 years young in March. And I've been sick off and on since infancy. Lots of hospitals, lots of doctors, lots of medication. My mother healed herself from lupus with herbs, and that was my first introduction to supplements and alternative healing. And when I was in my early 30s, I had a condition, acid reflux, and it had burned holes in my esophagus. And they wanted to do surgery. And at that time, they cut you straight down, and I was vain. And I was like, no, thank you. And so the universe led me to a crystal shop, and I learned I needed to work on self-love. And right across the street was a little market, a little fresh produce market that made juices and sold supplements. And I would go every day after taking my daughter to school, and I would read, and I would drink beet juice and carrot juice and apples. And I went vegan.
Wow.
And I went back to the doctor in 3 weeks, and my esophagus had started to heal itself. And I kept doing my juice. He said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it and come back in 3 weeks. So I kept doing what I was doing, and I went back, and I was an uneducated vegan, because veganism back then and veganism nowadays is really, really different. But anyway, I went back. So this was the 6-week checkup, and it was continuing to get better. So he said, come back in a month. I kept doing the juices. I kept limiting the any animal products. I was taking slippery elm. That was the only thing I was taking. I was drinking it and sometimes blending it with apples. And long and short of it, he followed up with me for 6 whole months. And in 6 months, my esophagus had completely healed itself.
Wow, amazing.
And so that was my introduction to, but I actually thought that it was the foods and the supplements that healed me. And I'll spring forward for like about 25 years, 26 years, which would bring me to this year. I had a healing crisis in January, and I've had many, was using a walker until up until about a month ago. I still use a cane, and I've been looking for external modalities to heal my body. Right, I know that it's no longer surgery because I did that on the right hip, and I just wouldn't let them do it for the back and the left hip, which are the major things that I would say. And I can do a write up for you because there's a whole bunch of conditions that I've been labeled with that supposedly require medication for the rest of my life and pain for the rest of my life. And was recently, as recently as 2 weeks ago, suggested to me that I get on disability. So my
Yeah.
response
So
to that,
Alva, would you mind just mentioning maybe a few, because I know the list
yeah,
is very long, so
sure,
I wouldn't expect
yeah,
you to
okay,
just
no
list
problem.
all, because that would be probably challenging. But maybe just mention a few.
Yes, yes. Osteoarthritis. There's no cartilage anymore in my left hip. I have what do you call it? Well, I'm gonna say this. I've been diagnosed with herniated and bulging discs in my lower spine due to spinal injuries. I had a stroke when I was 25. Currently, still there's asthma and rosacea, migraines, terrible digestive problems is what brought me to you. Like just really difficult digestion stuff. No heartburn, indigestion. Every now and then a little bit of reflux, especially if I eat cooked. A lot of joint pain. The osteoarthritis is in supposedly all of my joints. So writing can be painful. Typing can be painful. As you can see, I wear glasses and technically should have like a new prescription. And then there's, also like obesity, insomnia, depression, anxiety. It's a long list, dandruff. um,
A
there's
lot.
a yeah, there's a long list, but and actually, you guys, that's just some of the things that I've been diagnosed with and have been carrying and was taking medicine for until about 2 years ago. And then about a year ago, I stopped taking over the counter prescription medicine. And I've always had terrible sinus issues and I've been on so many steroids for since my teens, actually,
Wow.
since being diagnosed with asthma. I have two inhalers that I keep in my purse, but I haven't had to use them maybe once in 6 months. And that's completely out of the norm. Normally, I have to use them daily.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
in January, I had a sciatic episode, and that is still ongoing. And that's kind of what led me to that is what led me to Kasha, because I went the medical route with just the steroid pack. I refused the shots and the pain medicine, and then I went to an acupuncturist and a chiropractor, which I saw twice a week for about 6 weeks. And the pain would be better and the cramps would be better for about a day and a half. And I was doing juicing then. I was trying to juice fast. I was trying to eat raw vegan and mostly fruit. And it was just on and off because some days the pain was so bad, I just had to numb it. I also have a long history of addiction since childhood. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 12. My
That's
family,
so early. Wow.
yeah, I was in the sixth grade. Um, my family also has our culture. If you're happy, you eat. If you're sad, you eat. If someone dies, you eat. Like you just eat for everything. And they put a lot of sugar in our food to get us to eat vegetables, which I didn't really need because I actually liked eating raw. But my family didn't feel that was safe. So uh, my first addiction, I would say, is sugar, and I would say that was before I was even 3 years old. I would say it's white sugar. And it did take me a long time to get off of white sugar. But in 2010, I worked for Starbucks for the last time. And I said, when I leave this job, I will no longer be addicted to white sugar. And when I left that job in June of 2010, I was no longer addicted to white sugar. I
Well
was
done.
no longer addicted to coffee. I do still engage in coffee and syrup sometimes, but it's not an addiction. It was before working with Kasha what I would call a treat. So now when it come forward to June of this year, I was frustrated with the things that I'd been trying, the modalities that I'd been trying, and they didn't work. And I know the power of fruit. I've never been able to do quite 30 days of it, but I thought, I don't know, something, I just was attracted to your message. And I was like, I'm going to give it a try. And so I did. We were a small group, and I was, Kasha's support was nothing I'd ever experienced before. It was gentle, it was kind, and it was compassionate. And she just kept encouraging me to just keep eating fruit. I I made so many detours. And up until that point, I would always detour and I would spiral into shame, blame, and guilt, and then go on these wild eating binges because bulimia started for me when I was about 10. I was addicted to my grandmother's laxatives. She used to do X-Lax. It was like chocolate bars, and I would like just eat them. And then I have the runs, and then I learned, oh, I can eat what I want, and then poop it all out.
Yeah.
So that started when I was 10. Um, and I started a cycle, which I didn't realize that's what it was until recently. And I will come back to that of like starving and then overfeeding. Um, so anyway, in June, I wasn't I wasn't as disciplined as my mind thought I would be. But what was beautiful is I stuck with the program from June 1st to June 30th. And I just kept having such warm support from Kasha and my other partners, I would say, in the fruit detox. They were like, don't worry about it. Just eat more fruit. And so I did. And on July 1st, even though my path wasn't linear, I noticed that mentally and emotionally I was feeling better. So I think I should just pop in and say that I was suicidal at the time in June because I just was so tired of living with chronic
Was
pain.
that still was that still very present?
Oh my gosh, yes. This sciatic experience has made taking a shower difficult, using the bathroom difficult, eliminating waste difficult, standing difficult, sleeping difficult. Like for a person that already had insomnia, to not really be able to sleep because there was no position in June when I came that was comfortable. There was no position that was June. I also have bursitis on both hips. And
Yeah.
so, and I'm a hip sleeper. And because of the back stuff, sleeping on the back is difficult. And there's paralysis in my left leg. So sleeping on my back with my legs up is difficult. Like it was the amount of pain that I was living in and not taking anything for
Yeah, yeah,
was
I'm aware that this is actually something what I feel that maybe we could just expand, not in many sort of details, but I know that the not being able to actually walk
rest.
freely, it was the big thing for you. So it would be great maybe if you could share like how long have you experienced that for? Like not being able to walk basically really freely just by yourself without any support.
I had my left hip or my right hip replaced in May of 2016. And with about 6 months of physical therapy, 6 to 8 months, I was able to get off of the walker, just use a cane. And I had a light walker if I was going long distances. And in 2017, I had some freedom from the walker, but by October of 2017, I was back on my walker for the left side
Oh,
because back on the walker because I stopped doing hip injections on the left side. And so what happened was it was masking pain that the left side of my body was carrying because it was compensating for the right side of my body.
yeah.
So with insurance, the doctor was like, yes, you'll need to have it replaced, but not yet, right? You have to jump through hoops, about 2 years worth of hoops before they'll agree to replace the left side. So by 2019, I was on a different walker, way more supportive than a light one, no more occasionally using it. And it was excruciating, but still bearable. And like I said, I was on medication, but I found I don't remember the type, an anti-inflammatory that didn't make me sick, that I didn't need pain pills to take with, that was kind of managing the pain. But I was eating all the wrong foods. So I didn't even know about cooperating with my body in all the things, from the stroke to a car accident 6 months later where many bones were broken and put back together. I never learned anything about an anti-inflammatory diet, even with the, the esophagus thing. I didn't learn that until like maybe 2016, 2015, 2016, thereabout, but not what I know now, right? Like it was
Yes.
just eat more raw, eat vegan. So I was a junk food vegan, right? I was also eating vegan from there, and I was juicing a lot, which was, it was probably a lot better than the animal stuff that I was eating.
Of
You know what
course.
I mean? And the sugar and the coffee and stuff like that. But just all of those years of those medications, well, it came to a head January 24th. I work in a call center, but working from home. And my leg was shaking, like from the hip joint to my toes. And it was just like, it was like I was being shocked with like some kind of electric thing. And, and I was just bearing it, and I was crying in between my phone calls, and sometimes crying on the call, but muting myself. And I've gotten so used to living with pain that for a few hours, I thought that was normal. And then at 1 o'clock, this voice inside said, "This is not okay. This is not normal." So I messaged my boss and I said, "Hey, I'm in so much pain. I can't think, I can't talk, I can't stop crying. I have to call a doctor." So I called what we call like the phone doc, because I didn't want to go in because it's COVID. They don't take new patients. I don't have a PCP because I'm not really into medicine that much. And I'll touch on that briefly. But anyway, they called in a prescription. My roommate went and got it. And I told my boss at 3 o'clock, I got to get off the phone. I don't care. Fire me, do what you have to do. But I can't, I cannot sit, I cannot lay. And I started taking the steroid pack, and it didn't really make a difference. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lay on my right side. I couldn't sit. Sitting on the toilet made me sob uncontrollably because it was so painful. I couldn't really control my bladder. It, it was the worst thing I've ever been through, and that's saying a lot because in that accident I had broken pelvis, broken leg, broken arm, chest muscle crush. Like
Wow.
it was a lot. Like I died a few times, and all that stuff.
Wow.
And that hurt, but that was not as painful as what I was experiencing with the sciatica. And my left leg and performance muscle is still kind of locked. I'm working with a massage therapist. And so what I noticed on June 30th, I actually felt a little better. I was still having a lot of pain, but I was like, my mindset was better. I wasn't like praying at night, I just want to die. Like, and I did still have some pills in my room that I could have taken probably, and I probably didn't throw them away because it was kind of like my back pocket kind of thing. And so I had to sign up for July. I had to like give it another shot and try to stick to it. And then Kasha gave us this beautiful handout, but there was this thing in there that I'd never read and I'd never heard. I've heard of this book. It's called Fit for Life by Harvey Diamond. I didn't buy the book, but there's this statement I want to share. It says, the body is self-cleansing, self-healing, and self-maintaining. It goes on to say, this is based on the idea that all the healing power of the universe is within the human body, that nature is always correct and cannot be improved upon. We can experience problems of health, and it goes and talks about some stuff, only when we break the natural laws of life. And when I saw that in the 1st of July, I realized that I had been breaking the natural laws of life. And I didn't, for a second, I felt bad. Like I felt shame and blame and guilt, but like for a brief second, and I was like, wait, I can either go down that or I can realize that I just got the answer that I've been praying for my whole life. Like the amount of antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicine that I was on, I had 11 pill bottles in my purse in my early 30s that I had to
Yeah.
take every day, several times a day. And no one ever told me that the body could heal itself. It was just, you just have to live with it. Every new condition, well, that's to be expected. And so I was
Yes,
more,
that's so Alva, can I just ask you, so that was really great, about all what you've experienced before. So now as we are moving into July and the 90-day holistic detox, thank you for sharing the quote, by the way, because that is very powerful. I
yeah,
mean, it really is. And it can change everything if we really go with that. So let's maybe share a few more things. So when you started the 90-day holistic detox program in July, you've already shared the quote. So that was the opening, the start, I guess. Yeah.
it's my
What,
mantra.
yeah. So what have you introduced
The
new
Yeah.
that you haven't experienced before? Like, what was new? Because that was in a way like starting a new chapter with different approach.
Yes. So I did my best to follow your guidance about fruit being the first meal, drinking more water, which let me say I wasn't drinking enough water. I definitely didn't drink enough water in June, but I was drinking more than I used to drink. And in July, I asked, like, how do I drink more water? And you said, gradually. So I initially made the goal to drink 3 liters a day. I had worked up between June and I would say the first and second week of July, I'd worked up to maybe like 2, 3 liters. And so I was determined to bump up to 4 liters, you know, by the end of the month. And I attempted a couple of days of water fasting, and I fell into a rhythm of what people call intermittent fasting, because what I did learn about myself in June was I definitely don't like breakfast. I don't feel good eating in the morning. So I started listening to my body and noticed that my natural time to eat was somewhere between 12 and 2. Well, by July, I noticed I really don't want anything to eat until about 2 o'clock. And then my body wanted watermelon. And perfect, it's watermelon season. And I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out, like, for a month and a half, I'd wanted just watermelon juice and watermelon. Like, it was crazy. And I kind of paid attention and I kind of didn't. Well, in July, one more thing I did was listen to the body. Like, you started showing us how to listen to the body. And I was like, oh, my body wants watermelon. Okay, I'm going to eat watermelon. And every time I listened and ate what it told me to eat, I felt better. I felt physically better. I felt mentally better. I felt a little bit stronger. And so that's what I implemented in July. Watermelon was like so awesome. I started learning fruits that I liked. I really, really liked mandarins and sweet oranges when they're in season. And when they're not in season, I also learned to stop eating something just because I bought it. I did, and I didn't throw it away. I'm not gonna lie. I did give it to homeless people because we have such a large homeless population here. I
Yeah.
thought this is a meal for someone that's better than them eating out of a garbage can.
Totally.
And then by the end of July, I went to a dance and I was able to dance on my walker, which isn't something that I could do before that. I was able to dance and have a good time. And it was my first social setting that, even though there was a ton of food, all I wanted was watermelon and cherries. And that's what I ate. And I drank water. And
Amazing.
I didn't feel like I missed out at all, which I have been such a social person in social settings, including just with my small family. I have had a tendency, and sometimes still do, just be honest, to eat what they're eating. But now I only do that for one meal, not all day. And maybe the portion of that meal is much smaller. So I went to the party. The next day, I didn't feel so good, but it was mostly that I was sore. It wasn't about food, it was my body was sore. But that was the most that my body had moved in 6 months, more like a year, probably, right? So, of course, I would be sore. So, the next day when I woke up, I messaged Kasha and I was like, I'm really tired. Um, my body just wants to sleep and drink water. So you said, just stay connected with me. I just want to make sure you're okay. And I was like, yes. And then I noticed, and you probably noticed, I don't know if you remember because it's been months, but for days, my body just wanted water and sleep. Like
Yes.
it was
Yes.
about like
I
two or
do
two,
remember that. Yeah.
it was
I'm
about two
actually
or
concerned about you or what was happening.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 weeks. All my body wanted was water and sleep. And there was a couple times where a couple bites of watermelon, I just bit on it for the juice. I didn't want to swallow it. And I just listened. And 3 weeks later, I felt, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I just felt, and there was a part, I know Kasha remembers because I remember you being really concerned. There was a part where the pain in my body was so bad, but there was this beautiful, soft voice that just said, "This is detox." And I said, "Oh." And it said, "This is what healing feels like." And I was like, okay, because I asked my body, I said, do I need to go to the emergency room? Do I need to go ahead and have the hip
Yeah.
replaced? Like, I'm not trying to force anything. I just want to know what to do. And it was just like, just write it out. The other thing that I did that was kind of crazy in that period is I threw out my bed and I started sleeping on the hardwood floor. Probably not the smartest suggestion, but I do feel like it was guidance from my body that the bed was not helping, and this was an adjustment time. So I wrote it out, and then after the 3 weeks, I bought myself something called a shiki butan, which is a Japanese mattress that goes on the floor. Which to all of my friends that don't have mobility issues think it's insane, and my child too, because I have to stack a whole bunch of pillows in order to get up enough momentum to get my body up due to, like not having a strong physical core just because of all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And but every time I get up and it's easier, or actually, you guys, every time I can get up from that position, I feel excited because that was not something I could do prior to June. So moving forward into August, I upped my fruit. I'm now drinking about 4 liters a day most days. And when I don't, I can feel it. And I'm experimenting with water fasting. And I mean, I have a history with juice fasting, so I definitely thought juice fasting had some magical powers. I didn't realize, although I'll be completely honest, my body had been telling me for like 2 years, you're dehydrated, you're dehydrated, you're
Mhm.
dehydrated. So, of course, I would up my juice, up my coconut water, and think that was something. But that wasn't the water that it was calling for, which that message I just got in September. It was calling for the water in fruits, the water in fruits. It's calling for both. But let me just
Whole,
say,
whole fresh fruit. Yeah, let's just
yes,
make that clear.
yes,
Not processed, not blended, not juiced, but whole, ripe, fresh fruit.
yes, because that is more hydrating to the body than anything else, in addition to pure, clean water, which Kasha, it recommends spring water. And when I started with her, I was drinking distilled. And I'll be honest, I drank distilled all through June, because that's what I had. But I switched in July from distilled to spring because I'd always read that distilled was best for you. And I did have some incredible results with distilled, but I'm just listening more. And so I've actually had some days in August, I ate more fruit. I tried to incorporate water fasting, and I noticed that my eating window went from 16:8 to naturally 18:6, which was completely organic. I'm not keeping a journal. I'm not
Fantastic. Wow.
trying to force anything. It's just a natural thing. And then some days it's 24, and it's not 24 because I'm trying to compare or compete. It's just, I really kind of do only eat in a 4 hour window. I have something, and about 2 hours later, if I'm listening and
That's
I act,
wonderful. Wow.
that's when my body's hungry. I only eat when I'm hungry. Anytime I eat when I'm not hungry, I don't feel good, and I can instantly feel it. I instantly feel the dissonance.
Yeah, the body is just basically communicating with you
Yes,
clearly.
I feel it in my joints. I feel it in my joints. And so August 25th, I went with the family to the beach. I almost didn't go because I've been ashamed of my body and anxious to be out in public. And I know I use a walker and I didn't want to inconvenience people and I didn't know about stairs and just all that stuff. But anyway, I jumped outside of my comfort zone, right? Because I feel like that's where a lot of healing and transformation happens, because I know what my comfort zone feels like and it wasn't getting me more life. It made me want to leave the planet.
Yes.
So I wanted to stay because I have two beautiful grand loves. And I also want people to know that you don't have to be sick. Like, just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be sick. There are a lot of people who are 100 years old and plus, and they do more than I do. And so
Absolutely. Yeah.
they're my inspiration, right? So I go on the vacation, and it's a 5-hour car ride, longest time I've been in a car since January, because even riding out here to my daughter and my mom's, which is an hour away, is uncomfortable, can be painful, and then triggers the sciatic blah 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 and lower back stuff. And so for a day and a half I've been miserable typically, but I decided that's not going to be the case. I was really clean, not 100%, but I was super duper clean for me, should I say, with the fast, with the protocol, with eating fruits, salads. And so the car ride, it was fine. We didn't even stop.
Wow.
I didn't,
Wow. You didn't even stop.
all I did the entire car ride was
Incredible.
sip water. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to sip water all day. And then I'm sure we'll have a dinner when we get there. And so we did. I ordered. It was not on the menu. It was Italian, but we knew we were going to do that. I'm at the ocean. This food comes from the Gulf anyway. So I did, but I didn't overeat. I heard my body say, "Okay, I'm done," and it was fine.
Wow.
I didn't experience more pain that night. I didn't experience indigestion, and I think it was because I was we were in such a loving container, and I was present with my food. I was enjoying the bites. I shared it. The next day I told my daughter, "Hey, I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to do this." My son-in-law went to the grocery store. I said, "I need a watermelon, and it looks like they have cantaloupe on sale. Can you bring me a watermelon and 2 cantaloupes?"
Fantastic. I love
So
it.
he brought the watermelon and the 2 cantaloupes. The watermelon didn't last very long because the babies like watermelon as much as I do. It lasted that just for like one meal. I shared it with everybody. The cantaloupes weren't right. So I said, "Hey, tomorrow when you go to the store, I'm going to need another watermelon." He's like, "How many?" I was like, "Just bring one every day that we're here."
Watermelon lover.
Yes, yes. But we ate grapes. Like, the babies ate with me. The rest of the family ate. We did lots of salads, which was really nice. We had a meal that, like I was telling Kasha, that the whole family, we all made together. Um, so I just want to say 2 things. You don't need to know the whole vacation, but there were 2 really powerful things that happened. One, I only used the walker to get from my house
Yeah, I
to
actually
the house.
wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
how did the moving your body basically work?
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
now
It was
share that.
her driveway is like a steep hill. So I used it to get to her house, to get in the car with my son-in-law's mother, because we rode together. The 2 grandmas rode together. She put it on her back seat. I used it to get from the car to the Airbnb we were staying at the beach, and it had steps. So I left it at the bottom of the steps, and I used my cane, and I walked up, and I said, "I'm not taking that thing in the house." So somebody brought it up and put it on the porch. The whole time that we were there, which was 4 days, we got there on a Thursday. We left that Sunday. I used the cane, except for we went to the beach. I was really concerned about the beach because it had been raining there, and they had said that if you get to a certain parking lot, they have a wheelchair. Someone will come out, they can wheel you, and it floats in the water. So that was the plan. Well,
Yeah,
we got
brilliant.
there, and that place was closed. The parking lot was there, but the wheelchair people were, I don't know, they were gone. So, oh my God, I used the walker and I cried a lot because the sand was wet and it was really hard. And I felt sorry for myself and I felt angry with myself and all of that stuff. But I kept doing it. I would lift it up and wheel a little bit and it would sink back down, and I'd lift it up and I'd wheel a little bit. And I was like puffing and puffing and out of breath, and just mine was like, it was like a real storm was going. And So I will say, in being kind to myself, I absolutely love the ocean, and I was looking forward to getting my body in the ocean. And the thought that I couldn't, like, I felt depression come on. And instead of resisting it, though, when I got to where everyone was sitting, I just sat on the walker because it has a seat, and I just let myself feel that. And I looked at my oldest grandson, and he was howling with glee. He was so excited to be in the water. And the baby who just started getting in the swimming pool, he was just, and I could feel their joy. And I said, I did not ride all this way, huff and puff from that car to be this close to the ocean and not get in. I knew I couldn't get down and get up, but what I did was I wheeled right up to the surface, and me and my feet in these
Wow,
little shoes that help me walk. They're like those toe shoes.
that's
Really
amazing.
got my feet in the water. And I just sat there and watched the babies and everyone have a good time. And I just offered all the feelings that were passing through to the ocean and just said, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And then I asked myself, am I ever not in the ocean of love that is life? That's impossible unless I separate myself mentally, right? And so I just let it be enough. I just let that experience be enough. And we had a blast, and we ate watermelon, and I had a pink pineapple flown in, and we ate that. And it was just beautiful. And I huffed and puffed back to the car, but I didn't have the mental whatever. I just, at that point, had compassion for myself and said, I'll take a few steps and stop. I'll lift it up. I'll take a few
Yeah.
steps and stop. And so I found the
Amazing.
rhythm. And my son in law, with his beautiful self, washed off the walker because there was sand everywhere. And we got back to the house, and we had a beautiful evening together. And the next morning, it was raining, like it was storming, like through the night. And I thought, I'm not going to go. It's just not going to be possible. The sand's
Yeah.
going to be more difficult. But it wasn't not going. I felt like I was listening to my body. I was like, you've done a lot. How about you stay and rest so that you can enjoy the rest of the day with the
Absolutely.
family? So I did, and it was beautiful. And I second guessed myself for like about 10 minutes, and I thought I really should have gone. About 10 minutes later, the other grandma comes through the door. She goes, Bibi, that's my grandma name. It's so good that you didn't go. Oh my God. The sand was so wet that we were sinking, and our shoes were sinking, and we had to keep stopping and taking our shoes off. And we'd go a few more steps and we'd sink into the wet sand. She said, but when we got to the edge, the edge where the, ocean is, we had a beautiful time. She goes, but I'm so tired. She said, I got to work out. She said, my thighs got to work out because of the sand. And then when the younger people came back, they said, Baby, it's so good you didn't come. Like, we're all so exhausted. They were like, it was like walking in quicksand. But there, I was like, did Kingsley and Sunny have a good? They said, oh my God, they didn't even
Yeah.
notice.
So it
Laugh.
was good to rest basically because at
It
least
was
you could really be
beautiful.
in your own space and just offer the body the rest that it needed.
It was beautiful. I was able to rest and drink water and eat watermelon in peace, and then I was refreshed for the family. So that's the end of August, and so I had enough time, like feeling this market improvement. Oh, so wait, let me just back up one second. I came back to my daughter's house and I stayed for a couple days to catch my breath because I could sleep in the bed. And I didn't use the walker. The last time I used the walker, you guys, I didn't even use it when I got out of the mother-in-law's car. I used the cane because that's what I'd been using. So I
Yeah.
used the cane to get up the hill from my daughter. Now I was completely out of breath and had to like
Was
sit.
that the first time?
Yes, yes, that was the first time in a year or more that I
That's
uh,
astonishing.
and
Wow.
so now, whatever today's date is, today's the 24th, right? I
Yes.
would say that today is literally 30 days of not using the walker. And I went out of town in
That's
September.
incredible, Alva. My
Yes.
congratulations.
Yes. So my protocol is mostly a ton of fruit, always first thing. Um, I have been eating some salads, which is part of the plan. Not necessarily exactly the way it's laid out, but I upped my salads, and that's been helpful. Upping my water. I've been able to have meals with my family and not eat what they eat, which that's
Yeah.
humongous for me. Um, I went out of town in September the 9th. I took a road trip myself that I drove myself 3+ hours to Austin to go to a Texas fruit festival. And that day I just drank water. And that evening I was a little hungry. I ate my first Pecos cantaloupe. It was amazing. And I just had a few bites. I just listened to my body because my body was like, I really just want water. And it was a little bit tired of water, which is why I ate a little bit of the cantaloupe. It was amazing. And it was like, okay, that's enough. I like totally felt full. And somebody made some homemade homegrown raspberries, nice cream, and they really wanted me to taste it. And I really didn't want to. And I went ahead and said yes, but only a tablespoon. I took 2 bites and my body was like, I don't want that. And I was like, and so I just stuck it in a bowl like near me. And I was like, really, you guys, my body just wants water. And so that was beautiful. I
Amazing.
the relationship. And then Saturday was all day the fruit festival. And I started my day with watermelon because they had this giant table, like an 8-foot table, and they turned it into a fruit mandala. And there was all
Oh,
kinds of fruits you could possibly imagine, just stuff I'd never seen before, but pictures, lychees and rambutans and uh, jackfruit and durian and all kinds of stuff I'd never seen before. And some kind of,
abundance of fruit. Yeah.
yeah. So, and then around, which is unusual for me, around 10 or 11, my body was hungry and they were serving a salad. And you guys, I held the salad for about 20 minutes because I was like, I don't know about this. I don't know what's in this salad. I don't know about this dressing because I haven't really had any chemicals other than an occasional indulgence in coffee. Um, I I was concerned, so I just put it up against my body and I put my hand on my heart and I put my hand on my solar plexus, and I was like, body, I need a really clear signal this salad is okay. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to not feel good the whole trip. You know what I mean? Oh,
Yes.
okay. So let me back up to one thing. The night before when I got there, I don't have the walker because I was planning on taking the walker on the trip because I figured I didn't know how far I'd have to walk. The walker was broken. So I couldn't take the walker. My son-in-law WD-40'd it and it just wouldn't work. And I was just like, forget it. So I left it, right?
So you left it. Did you leave
I
it at home?
I left it at my daughter's. And I should back up to the night before. I love dragon fruit and it's very cleansing, but I've never had the powerful cleansing that it now does for me. The night before for dinner, the babies and I wanted yellow dragon fruit. So we ate yellow dragon fruit. OMG. About 3 hours later, I was in the bathroom and I was in the bathroom off and on until at least 2 a.m. and
Wow.
then up at 4 a.m. And then I was like, oh my God.
That's not what you want when you are about to travel.
I was like, I said to my body, I was like, should I not go? And it was like, no, you should go, but you should rest. So I thought that I was going to leave at one time. I did not. I just rested. And I thought the resting would be me being asleep, but the boys had a different plan. So I just rested sitting in the bed at about like 7 for a few hours, and the boys just with me. And then my daughter was like, I'm gonna let you take a nap. And so I did. I got a 2 hour nap between 9 to like 11:30, which is when I thought I would be leaving. And then I just got up. The body said, get up and pack. And I got up and I packed. And then it said, go clean out your trunk. And I went and cleaned out my trunk. Holy mackerel, you guys. It was hot as heck outside. And I was doing a lot of standing. And oh my gosh, it was a lot. So I got back in the house and I'm like dripping with sweat and huffing and puffing. I was like, I just need to sit on the couch for a minute and I need to drink water. And I was sipping water outside. And I did, but I sat there probably for like an hour, maybe 90 minutes. And I was like, I don't know if I should go. And the body's like, go get in the tub. So I went and I got in the tub and I took a very cool bath and I felt so much better. So everyone helped me pile my stuff in the car. And I sat in the car for like 30 minutes because I just needed to like, I was having this like, I don't know, just like this kind of energy, you know. I might have been anxiety because again, that was stepping outside of my comfort zone. because now I'm going to be with people feeling the way I feel about the body and
Yeah.
stuff. But I was like, I'm going. Like, I just had a clear signal from my heart, from my inner guidance, from higher self. Everything within me said, go. This is an act of love for yourself. And this is also an act of faith, because I quit my job the Wednesday before because the thought of going back made me sick. And I knew that my body, that all the progress that I'd made to date would be undone probably in a week with the way the work schedule was. So without it, and I'm just going to say that. So anyway, I go, the ride was beautiful. The sky was beautiful. The clouds were beautiful. I listened to a recording for about 12 minutes and I turned it off. And I just decided to be in the silence, be in the beauty of the day. And I just felt like this flow happening. Like, if you listen to life, if you cooperate with life, right? Like the quote says, if we go with the natural laws of nature, like, it was magical. And I got there, and about 45 minutes outside, I started to feel that anxiety come back because I should have been there earlier, blah, blah, blah. And I was supposed to pick someone up, and I messaged her and she said, don't worry about it. I'll get there. I'll meet you at Casa de Luz. And that anxiety just dissolved, because I actually was probably about 20 minutes away from that place that I was trying to get to, that I would have been like 90 minutes late for if I would have tried, or more. And I was like, wow, nature, the universe really does take care of everything. Kasha has this thing that she says about how abundant that the universe is, and it takes care of everything. And I believed her, but I can't say that I've experienced it a lot because of just the way I was living my life and allowing
Yeah,
myself.
when we open basically to that, when we open to the guidance and really drop any expectations, any control, and
Yes,
then we just let really everything unfold for us.
yes. I had some
Yeah, so that's
contact.
amazing.
I had some context and some experience with it from the vacation, right? And so, like, it just kind of felt like this continuous thing, because the vacation turned out to be the other grandma, she gifted us the Airbnb. Like, I was thinking I was gonna have to pay, and when she had such a good time that she was just like, I just want us to commit to like doing another vacation together. And she
Yeah,
gifted everybody with that. So that was the abundance of the universe showing up. All I had to pay for there was, I think, coffee for some people one day, and I don't know, something else. It wound up being like, I didn't even spend $40. Like, I
yeah,
didn't even
yeah.
spend 40.
That's amazing, Alva. I'm just wondering because there is, I don't want basically this video maybe to be too long, and there is actually
Yeah,
like there's so much to share, and I just have the feeling that perhaps we could break certain things into
yeah,
topics, and
yes,
maybe we could record a few more videos, because there's
sure,
a few things that maybe I'm going to mention this time, and we could basically record another time, so we can basically go slightly more into detail.
okay, sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
because there is definitely this part. I know you had, a long experience also, like facing emotions, working with emotions. But I feel that this is really a subject on its own
Yes,
to enter. But maybe just for this video, like if we can skip certain things, because obviously this is a process. This
yes,
this
yes.
didn't happen just like that.
No, this has been, it's perfect that we're doing it now, because it has really been 120 days, so to speak, which will be next Friday. I just wanted to say, the thing about the fruit luck that I wanted to share is that I walked a lot more than I have in years with just the cane, and I'm still on the cane, and I'm attributing that to, I'll say three things. One, following the holistic detox guide more consistently. I won't say linearly, but I'll say more consistently. Listening to my body, the increase in water, not forcing, and I'm continuing for the next 90 days for the new one, hoping that not hoping, with the intention that consistency is, it increases, right? Like that there's
Yes.
just only the foods and beverages in my system that are recommended. I do want to see that. I'll say that there's a beautiful process that Kasha does, and yeah, we can do something else on that called inner guidance, and that has been guiding me. The beauty of the vacation with the family, the beauty of the fruit luck. Like I've been really, really, really like partnering with my inner guidance. It's the first thing I talk to in the morning and the last thing I talk to at night. Um, and just had two powerful experiences with her. I'll just say this though, there's this thing that you invited us to do that I don't know that you told us in the beginning, but maybe you did, about asking our body uh, what it wants to eat before we decide for it. And
Yes.
also as we're preparing, and I've been doing that a lot more since you shared that with us the last 2 weeks. And so this is really, I really wanted to do this interview because I wanted to share the power of the holistic detox and the body when we work with them. If I
Yeah.
could summarize my life to date, I would say in a lot of ways, I've been working against myself or the self or against love. Um, just out of lack of awareness, I would say.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And and
That's
that's
what
actually,
most of us what we experience.
yes. And actually being in this program and working with Kasha since June, I now feel that's a gift. If I would have had this awareness before her, it would have been one more reason why to leave the planet, because I'm not doing this thing called life right. But
Yeah.
now I realize that's a gift because, like you said, I'm not the only one. And I wanted to do this interview because now I know that my body can heal itself, and I want other people to know that too. I'm not going to tell someone else what their path is, but I come from a long line of people that think you get old, you get sick, and you die, and that you start getting sick at like 30 something. My daughter is about to be 38, and she thinks that's normal. And I want to break that cycle for my family, but I also want women to know, whether you do the medical route or alternative or whatever, the biggest components is one, self love, and two, working with the body. The body is so intelligent. I mean, I can actually take steps now without the cane. Not a lot of them, but
Wow.
some of them. I cut a half of a watermelon the other day, standing without leaning on the counter, without my cane. The cane was nearby, but I wasn't able to do that in August. I wasn't able to do that in July. I wasn't even able to brush my teeth or
That's
wash my face
beautiful.
without leaning on the sink. And so that's why I know this program is, there's something to it. That's why I know that it's a gift from not just the divine, but nature itself. Like people would say, like, if you just get in alignment with nature. I didn't really quite understand what they meant. And now I feel like I do know what that means. And it's not, as you said, an overnight process. For some people, it is. For some of us, it's one step and another step and another
Yes.
step and another step. And
Really important not to rush, not to put any pressure, not to look for shortcuts.
don't compare, and
Yeah.
don't think that if you do something off, like if you have a coffee or sushi or whatever the thing is, your whole day isn't wiped out. What I learned on those days was my body sometimes would say nothing else for the rest of the day but water. And I would be like, okay, I never had that experience before. And I want to go back to something you just said because it's huge. So I'm going to tell on myself because I just like to do that, because if it can help you, that's great.
Yeah.
I've been looking for shortcuts since I was little. I tried to remember, and my body gave me a memory of, I think I was in the first grade, and I was in ballet, piano lessons, and the brownies. And it felt like my story then was it was too much. If I'm honest, ballet was the thing I loved the most, but it was hard. Brownies was easy for me. Piano was easy for me. I quit the hard thing. So what we're coming forward, it has been a pattern since the first grade. If something was too difficult, nix it. Just quit, stop, just don't even do it, no matter how much you love it.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that. And that's probably why I've been doing a bazillion detoxes and none of them ever worked, right? Because, and it's not that this is hard, it's just emotions come up, feelings come up, old stories come up, old patterns come up. And as a former addict of everything from cigarettes to drugs, recreational and prescription, alcohol, just you name it, anything outside of myself, I was always looking for the quick fix. And I always thought all the answers were outside. This
Yes.
program solidifies for me that all of my answers are inside. It's important to ask for help when you need it. The more honest you can be, the more honestly that I show up, the more transparently I show up, the more all
Really.
of me heals, not just my body, all of me heals. I'm healing. I'm not healing. Life is healing through me. Old
Yes.
wounds, old stories from like my parents not wanting me, not being seen, feeling abandoned, not good enough, and discovering that it's me, that it's my love, my attention, my company. We can be in a room alone, but that's not me being good company to me if I'm not present. And I'm learning how to do that. And I know I probably sound like super excited, and that's because I am super excited. This
Yeah,
is
I wanted actually you to ask you to share like how do you feel now? Like now when this 90-day detox program is just to end literally in 1 week, and you will continue from October. Um, so how do you feel right now? Like very briefly.
I feel over the moon. I feel giddy. I feel joy. I haven't felt joy in so long. I've been feeling joy since August. I feel excited. I feel peace. I'm not in an argument with my body about pain. I notice days when there's no pain and I'm being super grateful for those. And so when the days there is, I'm like, I try to reflect on the day before. Did I make a choice? How did I contribute to that?
You are
And
really in the body, like you really aware and communicating.
yes,
That's
because
amazing.
I'd also been trying to, um, uh, I think this came up in a session with Kasha or somewhere it came up sometime in the last month. I felt like my body was a prison, and now I feel like my body is a temple. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie and say I treat it like a temple every single day, but I treat it like a temple more, and I'm remembering more and more. This is the gift. Like, I want to be alive, and I want to have the best life possible, and I want to enjoy it. And the only way I can do that is beginning to like align with nature, align with life, align with the infinite wisdom that is all of life and that is living in this body, you
Yeah, and
know,
it's available all the time.
all the
It's
time.
it's
And
just our natural
yeah,
state.
it's just a matter of tapping into it. And maybe even the tapping in, I'll say this, maybe it doesn't happen so easily for some of us. Um, so
Well,
if you
you've worked a lot.
yes, I was just gonna
Your
say
commitment, Alva, is just astonishing. I mean, absolutely incredible.
there's something about your approach for me that really, really works. And I'll say this because I think this is important. If you've been telling yourself, someone's been telling yourself that you're not good enough and you're not disciplined enough and all of that stuff, if you're willing, as Kasha says, to just set that aside for a little bit, like imagine if you're going into the yoga studio or you're going to wherever is your favorite place, your house. If you would be willing to just leave those thoughts outside on the doorstep and take this journey, I can only, I can't even, there are no words to explain the magic and amazing goodness of life that shows up for you. I will say my path has not been linear, and I'm a little bit proud of that, right? I'm a sailboat. I kind of gone with the wind, but I'm the captain of that sailboat now.
Yes, yeah,
it's,
totally,
it's a
totally. You are the
course.
captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
So my
that.
course is going to be, I'm on a different course this time. I really want to give my body the opportunity to self cleanse and self heal. And it takes openness. It takes willingness to like just put the baggage aside, if you will, of what you didn't do, how many times you did it, how old you are, and all of that stuff. If you're willing to do this, you're in for an amazing adventure from day to day. And if you're willing not to compare yesterday to today, if you're willing to, sometimes buy fruit and it's not ripe and say, I'm not going to eat that and be okay with that. If you're willing to just be open, I think that only thing it really requires is for you to just show up every day open. And something that Kasha has taught me is to be gentle with yourself, be soft. She said this the other day, and I've been like, if I could skip, I would skip. No judgment. Don't judge 1 minute of your journey, because I can see from June 1st to today, it was all perfect. And I'm grateful for every moment of it, including the super duper hard ones. The person that is right here, right now, I was not this person that Kasha met June 1st.
That's absolutely amazing.
And I've waited a lifetime.
Remember that.
I've waited a lifetime to be who I am in this moment. And I will continue to do this work to continue to reveal more of that, because I deserve it.
Yes, absolutely. You do. You are a precious, really divine self that is unique, is important to the entire creation. It's simply because you exist. You exist for a reason. You would not be here. There is nothing that exists here in any accidental way. And every one of us is unique and significant.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Alva. You are just a beautiful and so powerful inspiration to me, even witnessing what you are experiencing, how you are evolving, how you are allowing and supporting your body, your entire system to heal itself is just absolutely incredible. And you are just such an amazing example to so many, in so many ways, that I really feel this, that I would love actually a few more interviews to really break. And you've mentioned the inner guidance, and I know also how you find it supportive, inspiring. It's very simple, but at the same time, it's very powerful. So maybe we could share another interview that is really dedicated to that.
I would love to. And
maybe the emotions, because I know your experience is just huge, and also obviously everyone is going to experience in a very individual, very unique way, but just to share basically your experience.
Yes. And if you want,
so maybe
I was just going to say, if you want to do like a couple of smaller ones too about this process, because I didn't have a long attention span when we started. So I know this might be long for some people. So if we want to break smaller segments, I would be willing to work with you and do that as well, because I don't want someone to miss out, look at the time and just go, oh my God, like what could they talk about for that long?
Yes, I would really appreciate that, Alva, and this would be amazing. Yeah. And I so appreciate the fact that you are so open to share. I love that, and I just appreciate that so much. So just maybe wrapping up this video, if we could just summarize, like literally in a few sentences at the end.
Okay, I can do it.
How would you really sum up, like what was the learning that you've experienced you've learned by experiencing, really? Because I feel that our profound understanding really comes from our experience, like having that experience of nearly 4 months. what was the biggest learning, the biggest feedback where you are right now in that process? Like literally a few sentences.
I can do it. I can do it. The body is a gift. It's so intelligent, and we're designed to be healthy. And so our number one practice in this life is the thank you. And that thank you looks like loving ourselves in mind and body and cooperating with the body so it can operate optimally. We can have the same energy that little people have if we treat our bodies, if we treat our bodies, if we collaborate, right? With what we
Yeah,
eat, with
absolutely.
the amount of water. Like 70% of our body is water. Our bodies need more water, more clean water, structured water from the fruits and the vegetables, and from drinking water. And so, yeah, that's thank you back to life for this beautiful gift. And the way we
Yeah.
say thank you is through self love and how we treat our mind, our body, and our spirit.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love that. I'm going to just maybe also literally just in a few short lines to just reflect on that, that the entire process of the 90-day detox program is not really about adding anything, is not about learning anything, is the opposite. It's really eliminating, letting go, and removing all the old conditioning, the programming, what we've identified ourselves with, all the addictions, the attachment, not only to food, to many things, and
Yeah,
working emotions, identifying, observing the emotions and really working with them so we can finally release them. We can see where they are coming from, what they communicate, because emotions are great communicators if we really know how to approach them. So, this is really about eliminating all that, just to be able to recognize the real nature of who we really are.
yes,
And this is the ultimate purpose, really, to get to know the self, the true, real aspect of who we are. And when we are in that state, there is no room for unhappiness, there is no room for diseases, for illnesses. Everything is perfect and life just flows.
yes. If I would describe that in one word, I would say it's unlearning, like you said, removing
Yes,
those obstacles to our freedom. Like I didn't even
yes,
know I was free all this time, even though I was making those choices, right? Like
yeah,
we're so
absolutely.
free. We can choose bondage or we can choose freedom. And this program just unlocks all of that for me. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you so much, Alva. So maybe my suggestion is, if that resonates with you, obviously, maybe we could share the inner guidance, because that was definitely supporting you. That's the feeling that I had, and you've actually shared this so many times, and you've mentioned that here. So maybe we could share the inner guidance, and then we will see what next is going to evolve from that. So this is going to be like sharing your process of self-healing, really, isn't it?
Yes, 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 yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much again for being here, for sharing, and just really sharing your beautiful light, your beautiful energy, your beautiful divine self, and just expanding more light on this planet, because that's really what it is all about.
Yay.
Thank
You.
you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sending you lots of love, many blessings, and I just can't wait to connect on another video.
All right. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.